Welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Skip me, Zara.
And we are two Americans living in Sweden, talking about football games. Yeah, we know what games, what teams are playing. It's going to be so dope. We are back. We're talking about the schedule. Schedule has been released. And it's been a while, man. Well, we've been in touch, but we haven't been potting much. So good to see you, man, to talk some football, man.
Yeah, what's your take on the – it's so funny when these things come out because we were sort of just talking off mic about, like, the way the sport gets covered in the media. One of the other things that's kind of funny is, like, it's all these, like, there's, like, the camps are split into two categories. Like, oh, I love the schedule release. And then there's all these other people who are like, I hate it. I think it's dumb, you know?
The release of the schedule being the thing?
Well, I think, you know, the criticism of why is the schedule release such a big deal? It's like we already know who these teams are going to play. We've known that for months. All you're finding out now is, like, when they're playing.
That's great. I love that to know, and then and we love as the analysts and stuff. They love to start just like the draft. You start like saying, all right. To me, it feels more real, like more feasible than a mock draft, because you look through it and you're like, all right, this team is going to be bad. This team's going to be good. They play on week 3. This team by then should be 3-0 or should be 1-2. Or if we're 6-3 by then, we're in good shape. Stuff like that.
That's a good point. I prefer the schedule release over mock draft season for sure.
Hell yeah.
Because mock draft season is so, I mean, there's speculation in all of it, but
it's impossible to guess the mock draft. It's impossible.
At least you're having a theoretical conversation about actual events from which you know when they will take place, right?
Right.
And you can also, you know, there are things that you can, like you as a Dolphins fan, you obviously know, like, you know, for you were like, okay, do we go to Buffalo in October or are we going in December? Because those two things not the same thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So,
and you can definitely find out if the league hates your team. Like last season, Dolphins fans were a little peeved that there was only one game that was at home when it's hot.
Yeah.
Everything else, the Bills, it was a night game. It was like, that's our advantage is the hot, you know what I'm saying? So then you can say the league hates my team. You can find a reason, which fans love to do, find a reason why there's a conspiracy theory against your team when not really. It's probably not the case.
Yeah.
So that's a fun little side effect of the
but
schedule.
you can learn that, like, because we have some unanswered questions at the moment throughout the league as usual during the offseason. The biggest one probably is, will the Steelers, will Aaron Rodgers be the Steelers quarterback?
Yeah.
The NFL certainly thinks so because their first game of the season is against the Jets. So I can guarantee you that the NFL thinks that Aaron Rodgers has a pretty good idea that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the Steelers quarterback.
Oh,
so there's a lot of little nuggets you can, like, if is
it in New York?
That's a good. I don't remember
because that turf ain't playing up there. 4 snaps in.
Yeah, probably.
It was 4 snaps in, 1 snap he was out. It's like, oof, that Achilles snapped.
But before we get into the schedule, there is actually quite, some very interesting news to report. The first story, of course, I got to talk about my man, former Bulldog George Pickens, being traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, this is an interesting situation. Tomlin is known for taking on these problematic receivers, and then when he gets tired of them, he kind of ships them off.
And what do they do then? You forget the last part.
Well, it's not good usually. Tomlin, we can say that Tomlin has been proven probably correct in most cases. So the deal is this: the Cowboys get George Pickens and a 2027 6th-round pick. The Steelers get a 2026 third and a 2027 fifth. Okay. The reporting on this was quite funny. The first headline that I saw, they used the word mercurial to describe George Pickens. Mercurial wide receiver George Pickens. And I don't know if our listeners are familiar with the word mercurial and its specific meaning. Mercurial means, and this is from the dictionary, subject to sudden or unpredictable changes of mood or mind, which is like a really, really polite way of saying this bitch is crazy as fuck.
It's insane. Know what? What's interesting is that term mercurial being considered like unpredictable or whatever, when one thing that we do predict and we look at every day is weather predictions, and mercury is in the thermometers.
That's true.
I think they should really change that up.
There is some indication that the origin of this word being used to describe a person, because originally the meaning of mercurial just meant that it has mercury in it.
Okay.
It's a substance that contains a certain percentage of mercury.
Okay.
But we also know that mercury in the human body can cause a type of kind of poisoning or insanity. So there's some sort of like, maybe George Pickens has mercury in his brain.
Makes sense now. Look at us teaching some in-depth English.
Yep, smart guy, English major, went to college, graduated top of my class. It's not a big deal. I don't really, I don't.
Speaking of major,
it doesn't actually count for anything, so it's not like I'm bragging. I actually, of all the teams that he could have gone to, I think this is probably the best situation.
Agreed. Can we go through their receiver core?
I mean, it really, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I mean, who the fuck? Who else?
Then you got Jalen Tolbert, Jonathan Mingo,
right?
Kevontae Turpin.
Oh, that's fun.
And then Jalen Brooks. The rest are kind of like, who knows if they'll be on the roster.
But also, CeeDee Lamb has already come out and said, maybe he's taking the humble route, or maybe he's just seeing the benefit in saying this. But he's like, as far as I'm concerned, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, there is no 1 and 2. We're both ones. Like,
until you don't get passes. But that's the thing. George Pickens isn't he's not like a reception machine. He's not getting a bunch of targets every game. He's getting 3-4 big ass targets. He's gonna do something big.
I think the real benefit is that he draws attention because of his threat, and also
open it up.
George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb do two different things, right? CeeDee Lamb is really kind of one of the best slot receivers in the league. And George Pickens is really more of a field stretcher. So it's like, theoretically, Pickens should open up just massive amounts of space across the middle for CeeDee Lamb to absolutely cook.
Yeah.
I mean, these two together.
With Dak
and also you think about what happened last year with the Cowboys prior to last year. Last year was a bad season, but prior to that, they had, 3 or 4 seasons in a row where they had at least 12 or more wins. I really think, I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to win this division, but I think they're definitely going to be a bounce back candidate this year. And they didn't invest in the running back room, which we thought they would, which means I assume they're planning to throw the ball all over the yard, which is, should bode well for these two guys.
You think Brian Schottenheimer is going to be able to control George Pickens when he has a temper tantrum?
Well, that's the part of the story where I'm like, okay, there's some real concerns here. Like, I'm not. I don't know. He's very. He's unproven as a head coach in a lot of ways. We don't really know much about him. We don't know how he manages the rooms. We don't know how he manages personalities. So yeah. The other thing that I read a report about this. One of the other benefits of him going to Dallas, Jerry Jones has built a whole universe for this team to live inside. It's not just like, there's the field where they play, obviously, but the whole complex that surrounds the field and the practice facility. They've got chauffeurs that drive the players to and from where they live like they really never have to leave the Dallas Cowboys bubble, which bodes well for a player like Pickens because it means he has less opportunities to get into, some kind of shenanigans. Even though, to be fair, I've never really heard of Pickens getting in trouble off the field. He gets in trouble on the field, like when the cameras are rolling, which is which is you either love him or you hate him. Yeah. I'm here for the chaos, and I think it's just quite funny. I love that he, he so deliberately wants to fuck with people. Like the ball's not even coming in his direction, and he's gonna fucking rip a dude's face off. Yeah. There was a famous play when he played for Georgia. It was his last season, and it was a Georgia Tech game, and there was a play where he locked up with the cornerback, and he literally looks behind his shoulder. He sees that he's close to the wall that's there in the back of the end zone. He grabs the guy by his face mask and just like yanks him into you could see it was all like, oh, oops, no, there was no accident. He was like, oh, wall player, boom. He's just an absolute maniac.
I got a question for you. Does that Steelers receiver core look juicy for Aaron Rodgers? With DK Metcalf, Robert Woods, Calvin Austin, Ben Skoranek, Scotty Miller?
I mean, yeah, it should. Do they still have Pat Freiermuth too. He's pretty good tight end.
Oh yeah. I didn't even go to tight end. That was just receivers. Yeah. And then they got Freiermuth.
I would like for them to add one more sort of interesting receiver. I mean, the drop off from DK Metcalf is pretty significant, I think. Robert Woods. Yeah.
Robert Woods is good.
Yeah, he's okay.
They don't have like a burner.
No.
But they got some good receivers though. Metcalf with Aaron Rodgers, the last throw that he has is an outside, what's it called? The outside shoulder. That he still throws better than most of the NFL.
I mean, honestly, I don't feel any differently about the Steelers this year than I feel just about every year. They look like they've got 9-8 written all over them.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Before we got on here, we were talking a little bit about one of the most respected voices in NFL analysis, Mina Kimes, who said that your team had the best fan base. Right. But she said something in that same conversation that really bothered me and will piss you off right now. So be prepared to be pissed off. They ranked the coaches in this episode that I listened to.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
They ranked the coaches. She ranked, and then they had a discussion about this because she ranked Mike Tomlin, I think 11th or something like that. But he was down in the top 10. They did top 10, but I think he was just outside. Or like he was. The point is, top 5 coaches. She had Kyle Shanahan. She put Kyle Shanahan over Mike Tomlin. And I was like doing laundry. This is my meditation time. I do my laundry, listen to podcasts, I fold my clothes and all this stuff. And I was like balling clothes up in anger. And then the guy who she was debating with said, he said, the 49ers went 6-11 last year. Do they go 6-11 if Mike Tomlin's the coach? It's so easy question to ask to debunk this whole thing. And she like skirted around and never really answered it. But that was it. That's like, who's a better coach? Better offensive mind? Yeah, if you think offense is sexy, yeah, you go with Kyle Shanahan. Better coach? Not even close. I was losing my mind with somebody I really respect. I just had to get that off my chest, man. I knew that was gonna piss you off if you heard that shit. So many thoughts. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah, the disrespect. I can't fuck with that take. That's I'm not here for that. Oh, it's insane, man. Insane. I couldn't believe it myself, man. Wow. Couldn't believe it. Yeah, just had to say that, man. There's no way anybody, and then she'll probably take it back in a few years or would be like, what was I thinking? But Kyle Shanahan, yeah, he does amazing thing. And then she was quoting some stats about the quarterbacks, Garoppolo and Brock Purdy doing some amazing stuff with the yards per attempt or whatever. I don't give a fuck about that when it comes to a coach.
I'll say one thing. Kyle Shanahan has never developed
Exactly.
a quarterback.
No, he
Except for
developed
Brock
Purdy.
Yeah, but Kyle Shanahan does not deserve credit for Brock Purdy. That is literally the luckiest pick in the history of the NFL draft, period.
Because what else he did was he jumped up to get Lance.
And every other quarterback he's had
Lance is washing clothes right now.
Was the type of quarterback that all of these analysts try to prove. They're like, Shanahan's created the perfect system because it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. And it's like, has he won a Super Bowl yet? So what are we talking about? Like, does it really matter if he can't do it in the big game? Like, I say no, it doesn't matter. So I don't know. Speaking of quarterbacks, the other news item we have to get to is Saints quarterback Derek Carr has retired due to a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
But it cannot be understated how odd the details are surrounding this situation. So he was recovering from a concussion and a wrist injury at the time. The Saints restructured and extended Derek Carr's contract to effectively pay him $40 million back in March. 2 weeks later, he suddenly discovers that he has a career-ending shoulder injury.
Jeez, that's got to suck, though.
As we're hearing whispers that he doesn't want to play for the team anymore, all this other stuff, like it just feels like something weird is going on here.
Maybe it's that coach that everybody was talking about a couple years ago.
Could be. The other part of this is that, theoretically he could have sat on injured reserve for the year and made $40 million, but he's decided to retire and essentially walk away with $10 million. There is, as I am suggesting, some speculation regarding the validity of his injury. Some are suggesting that this was just a tactic to force a trade that backfired. There's still the lingering rumors that Carr is pulling a Brett Favre, pretending to retire so that he can get out of New Orleans and might resurface on another team.
Damn. How bad are they going to be?
So, yeah, that's a good question.
Are they going to be worse than the league?
Presumably, or a report suggests that it's going to be a quarterback battle between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck.
Oh, okay. And here I was thinking it was doom and gloom.
Yep. Tyler Shuck is one of the oldest rookie quarterbacks to be drafted this year.
His last name is literally what you say when you fuck up. Oh, shucks.
And it's spelled weird too, which I hate. It's like Shough. So it's like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's
Shuff?
Tyler.
It's the sound you make when you recover from choking on steak.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's Shuck. And I'm like, fucking spell it right, bro. If you're going to pronounce Shuck, just call it, put a CK at the end or something.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
No.
But Carr, whatever. If he's going to retire, you got to say 11 years in the NFL, not a great quarterback, but not a bad one either. He had that 1 year where he finished like third in the MVP voting, where he was just kind of on fire with the Raiders.
Yeah. Kudos, man. One of the best 32 quarterbacks for multiple years in the world for multiple years. Good job.
Oh yeah, right. And I forgot a name in that quarterback: Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Haener. Jake Haener.
Thanks, man. How could you forget Jake?
Got to show some respect to Jake Haener, so that could be a thing. Good luck, Saints fans, with all that.
There's a Ben DiNucci on their roster too.
No, they have Ben DiNucci too. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He Ben DiNucci.
He's yo. all you motherfuckers just got Benucci. I've been Danucci. Let's see. Nick Sirianni got a new deal.
Oh.
Which to me is kind of,
Of
I
course.
mean, obviously he deserves it. He just won the Super Bowl, but it's just kind of funny considering how hot, like,
yes, his seat was hot.
It's such a hot seat, like throughout the whole season. You know, his story is so fascinating, and it's like, if ever there was a possibility to do a true fly on the wall Hard Knocks, you would want to do it in Philly, because it's like there's so many unanswered questions as to who's actually running that football team.
Yeah,
but whatever, he's doing his thing.
He's getting results.
Yeah,
that's all you can ask for.
49ers All-Pro linebacker Fred Warner gets a new deal. 3 years, $63 million contract, makes him the highest paid linebacker in the NFL.
He's so fun to watch play. He's one of my favorite players in the league.
He's a really good player.
Yeah, man. He can handle coverage, hard hits, pass rush, all that shit.
Yeah. He's going to have to do a lot of work this year because that defense.
Robert Saleh is back, man.
Yeah, but the defense got gut. I mean,
I know.
The combination of trades and free agency is.
I was thinking about that. Robert Saleh got like since being there. I'm on your Kyle Shanahan thing right now, but since being there, that defense had all the studs on it. They had one of the best defensive rosters in the league, and it got Robert Saleh his job at the Jets, which was a dumpster fire anyway. So you can't blame him for what happened over there. Even though as a coach, you can't let a player come in and take over like that. But whatever. But then on offense, they had an amazing roster after that, where they had all of it. When that McCaffrey trade was huge mid-season, having Debo and who else did they have over there?
Ayuk,
and then they have the Greg Kittles. They had a roster, and they got results off of that. And speaking of Philly makes me think of, like, sometimes just great roster can do it for you.
True, and that transitions nicely into the next story, because that roster building is just going to get a little bit harder, because the bill for stumbling onto the biggest bargain basement deal in NFL history has finally come due. Yeah. Because Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, last in the draft. This guy was making less money per year than Deshaun Watson was making per game. He now just got his 5-year, $265 million contract with the 49ers. A lot of debate in the media over whether you should do this or not. I personally think, to me, that's not really that much of a debate, because I feel like,
what are you going to do?
If we're just looking at him, like, the guy got you to Super Bowl, for Christ's sakes. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't. There were all these people who were like, just get rid of him. You can find the next Brock Purdy. And it's like, bro, he's the last pick. And this is like, as far as stories are concerned, like, you got to love it for Brock Purdy. Like, what a great story for him to be last in the draft. And now here he is 5 years later, getting the bag, So I feel great for him. I don't.
Same.
I've said this many times before. I have no issues with the 49ers as a football team. It's just Kyle Shanahan who fucking grinds my gears. Good for him.
They were projected to to win 10.5 games.
Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are.
Like, damn, a 6-win team is supposed to get 5 wins better. Betting line.
They lost Debo.
Yeah.
Ayuk may or may not be 100% at the beginning of the season. He's still recovering from that knee injury. We don't know anything about Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
And we might not know anything until like 60 minutes before kickoff, week 1. Because we didn't know anything. We just heard he had some sort of a tweaked ankle thing last season. It turns out he had fucking tendonitis in both of his Achilles tendons. It's like,
That's 20 tendonitis.
Yeah, exactly.
20 tendonitis.
So I can't sit here and tell you the 49ers are going to be better next year. But yeah, whatever. Brock Purdy's certainly going to have more money in his bank account. That's all I know.
And Kittle got an extension too, right?
Yeah, that's true. I love Kittle. I think
Yeah,
Kittle's
same.
fun.
He's one of my favorite players too, man. I like that team, man. But I
This,
still can't say they're gonna win the division.
no,
That division's gonna be
no, it's
good,
still the
and that
Rams'
division
decision.
is about to be back to where it was a few years ago, because it looks like the Rams are gonna be good. They're back into form, and it's amazing. Enough can't be said about what Sean McVay is over there doing. Is it Sean McVay? Yeah, Sean McVay is doing up there because first he built a team. They basically bought a roster, right? They bought a Super Bowl. Some people might say they still had to go and win the games, but they just free agency built the team. Then you had to pay it off. Had to pay the price. Had one down year, and then they're back at it, and built the team through amazing drafts, two really good drafts, and then they're back at it. This dude is a great, great team builder.
Yeah, they went from the team that everybody thought, oh, they're just like, fuck those picks. And then they were like, no, we like the picks and we're pretty good at picking people.
Yeah.
Because they picked up, what's his name? They fixed their defense with one draft. It was like Jared Verse and whoever that other guy was. They picked those two edge rushers who were fucking badass last
Meeting
year.
at the quarterback,
Yeah, and this year, they've got a wide receiver. They let Cooper Kupp go. Obviously, he's kind of fallen off a little bit. But then they go out and get Devontae Adams. They got Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. They've got a couple of guys who were rookies last year who were quite good. And Kieran Williams is still really great running the rock. Stafford can sling it. I wouldn't worry about the Rams at all. I think they're going to be just fine.
Yep, and then a little bit southeast of there, you got the Cardinals. They're just building. Gannon is over there building something up down there. And then up in the Northwest, we got the Seahawks. And McDonald looks to be the right guy for that, building that thing up there too, man. That's going to be 4 really good teams soon.
Should be very interesting to watch this year.
Yeah. What else you got for news?
There's 2 little nuggets that dropped this morning. The NFL has approved players participating in Olympic flag football in 2028.
Oh, wow. Who won flag football? Or has it been in yet?
It hasn't been in the Olympics.
No, they haven't had it yet. Ooh.
This will be the first year.
We can't be losing that. This will be one of those things where we'll lose, get embarrassed, and then do a dream team type of thing. I'm saying, I don't think players will be in. Maybe like Tyreek will do it or something like that.
The only thing that bothers me about this story is, flag football has had a meteoric rise in popularity over the last 5 to 6 years. Sadly, it is probably going to be the case that the people who are most responsible for that, the players who are most responsible for that, are definitely not going to make this Olympic roster because it's going to be full of NFL players now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, so, yeah.
All these guys who
you think they'll do it?
All these guys who
gold.
Yeah. All these guys who have built the sport, I don't know their names because they're not obviously but they've been out here fucking making this a big deal, and now these other players. It's sort of like, what I personally think, even if you're not a hockey fan, one of the greatest moments in Olympic history is when the 1980 U.S. Hockey team beat the Russians and then went on to win the gold. And that was at a time when you couldn't have professionals in the Olympics. So these kids were all like 18, 19, 20-year-old college students who beat the Russians, which was like massive. Now it's not like that because it's just like, the stars from the pro leagues. It's just dream teams all over the place.
Yeah, but the U.S. did that because we were sending college kids and they were pros from other countries beating up on, like physically beating up on us. And then Dream Team started it all, man. With the
exactly.
All right, you want to beat up on these kids? We'll show you beating up on them. We'll give you Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and shit. Oof. That's one of my favorite summers ever in my life.
Roger Goodell also dropped a very interesting nugget too. The owners are meeting right now. He claimed that 16 regular season international games that in the near future, they are trying to have at least 16 regular season international games.
I love it. I love it, man. Spread the sport. It's my favorite sport. Why not spread it? Spread it all around.
That's crazy. 16. I mean, we currently have what, 8, 7 now, or 8? I can't remember.
It might be. I don't know, because we're in so many countries now, and that counts Mexico. See, a Mexico trip, that's so simple to do as far as your body. It's not so rough on you. Do they count Canada?
Yeah, they could.
You could do Canada. I mean, even going to South America, that's not so tough on their bodies. It's just coming to Europe is the tough ones, and then if they go even further, like Eastern Europe or like.
Yeah, you're right. I bet the Argentina's on the list. Football's pretty popular in Argentina.
Yeah, man, let's get it going, man. That's not so rough on the guys, man. Just a long flight, but it won't be time zones.
Yeah, it's just like straight down.
Yeah. I don't know why they thought London first. I guess it was popular in London.
Yeah.
You think they'll ever do a playoff game like that?
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me?
I'm just kidding. I know.
There are some people who...
No, they can't do that.
There are some people who claim that the NFL's goal is to play a Super Bowl in London.
Might as well.
I think people... I mean, for us, it'd be great because we wouldn't have to stay up till fucking ungodly hours of the night to watch it, but...
They might as well do it, though. Like, the fans aren't able to go see their team anyway because they've corporated it out to where it's $10,000 to get, $5,000 for a shitty seat.
That's a fair point. I hadn't really thought of it in that way. But, yeah, I think fans will still be really pissed about it.
Yeah, I'm sure they would if they got to watch a Super Bowl at 2 p.m. But the fans don't even realize how much of a fuck you the NFL is giving them already.
Well, that's obviously a perfect transition to start talking about the schedule because, like you said, this is where we learn how the league really feels about you. Yeah. We start with game 1. Eagles, Cowboys, Thursday Night Football, September 4th. It's a pretty good first matchup.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. Division rivalry.
Week 1 is heavy with division rivalries, which is kind of a new thing.
Yeah, I don't like it so much. I like the last week being division. That was a way to keep people from not taking the game seriously. But they sat too many players back then. But first week doing it is not so.
The only thing I don't like about the division rivalries being front loaded too early in the season is that they keep taking away these preseason games, so it really does feel like the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Nobody's really ready. Like, we don't really know who these teams are until like week 5 or 6. And to have a game that important in week 1, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say it just puts the pressure on the teams to get their shit together and be ready week 1. So in that sense, I guess I'm kind of okay with it. But
they are who we thought they were.
Yeah, exactly.
I get what you're saying, though. I also think that if everybody plays a division game, you only have 6. Everybody plays one on week 18. So then you're like burning another one if you do it week 1 as well. So then the middle of the season is a bunch of heavy consequence games.
There were a lot of takes about this first game. Like, a lot of people complaining about the Cowboys being the Eagles' opponent. It's like, the Cowboys, they weren't good last year. Of course they get this spot because they're the Cowboys, America's team, blah, blah, blah. I actually kind of think it's a sign that the NFL is kind of disrespecting the Cowboys a little bit. Yeah. It's like, we're going to make you play your division rival who just won the Super Bowl, and you're going to have to watch them raise their Super Bowl championship banner in week 1. And, by the way, when was the last time you guys went to the NFC Championship? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of look at it that way. Yeah. So I'm here for the shade.
Yeah, I like it.
Game 2 is our first international game in Brazil. Where the Chiefs will be playing the Chargers. That's pretty juicy.
You said game 2?
The second game of the season.
Oh, okay.
So this Eagles Cowboys is Thursday night, and the Chiefs Chargers in Brazil is Friday night. September 5th. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Chiefs Chargers.
Yeah.
I like that they're doing it like that, Thursday and then Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, all right, we got this extra day. We're gonna we're gonna milk another evening game. It sucks for us here, but you know.
Yeah. And then let's see. Before we get into the bigger picture, I always like kind of just looking at week 1 because that's the week we're waiting for, right? As of right now, that's the clock is ticking. Sunday, September 7th, for us over here is the first time we really are going to get a chance to watch football. And they started off with, we got the Raiders playing the Patriots. You got the Steelers playing the Jets, like I said, and it's at New York.
1 o'clock too. It's an early game too. Ooh, we're gonna be on that.
They know, bro. They know that Rodgers is going there. Your Dolphins are gonna go play the Colts.
Bah. That's not a marquee matchup though.
Cardinals Saints. Nobody cares. But Giants Commanders.
Yo, your boys are playing a division game. You playing Tampa?
That's right. Yeah. You got Bengals Browns. That's the division game.
Beat down.
You got a cat battle in week 1. Panthers Jaguars. Yeah, Bucks.
I mean, I'm getting so excited right now, man. As we talk about these games, I'm over here like,
yeah, Bucks Falcons should be interesting. I don't know what to think about this. This is going to be interesting.
You know what? That second slate is juicy, man. With the Seahawks 49ers, it'll be cool to see that division game in the afternoon. I'm not going to sleep that night, man. I'm going to have my Red Bulls lined up, man. I'm drinking energy drinks.
Let's see. Yeah.
The Lions and the Packers are playing.
Lions and Packers week 1.
Even this interconference game of the Texans and the Rams, that's going to be fun.
Yep.
Buffalo, Baltimore, excuse me, is the Sunday night game? What?
Yeah. Ooh. And then Monday night, you got Vikings, Bears.
Man, Ben Johnson versus Brian Flores?
It's pretty good week 1, I say.
Or we see who, I don't know if Ben Johnson's calling plays. Probably, right?
Yeah, probably.
I want to, I'll talk about it later down the line, but I want to talk about Dan Campbell, man. I got some flowers to give him in the future. When we go into the coaching, I want to say I remember when he first, I'll go into it now because I've been thinking about this. I remember when he first started and we were talking about coach speak, and I remember when he was a tight ends coach of the Dolphins. He was on Hard Knocks. That's when everybody got introduced to him as really being really tough on this player that didn't ever make it in the league, really, this rookie tight end. And then because of that, I knew he was going to be the interim coach. I knew he had that coach stuff about him. And then he became the coach of the Dolphins when they fired Joe Philbin. And then he went and he coached under, because they blew it all up. Adam Gase comes in, whatever. And then he went and coached under Sean Payton, who's considered a really good offensive mind. Mm-hmm. And then he goes from that and he becomes the Lions coach, of course. But when you look at him and you hear him talking, he's got that old school talk about him. He was a tight end as a player. And then he was a, tight ends coach and then an offensive. He was like assistant coach and offensive coordinator, if I recall correctly, for the Saints. And then he's got this vibe about him that's this tough guy, old school, hard-nosed vibe about him. But he like pulled the wool over our eyes, man. And he could possibly be the brains behind Ben Johnson. We don't even think about it. Like he could be like the next offense, like the Sean Payton protege that we didn't expect because of how he walks around and talks shit and talks about biting kneecaps and all of that. But when they break it down, he's one of the he leans in as one of the most as in analytics. He goes for it on fourth down more than anybody else because of analytics. You know what I'm saying? But he's got us thinking, and he's this hard-nosed going off of the, going by the heart. I'm going to punch you in the face, but he could just be fucking nerdy. You know what I'm saying? Like offensive behind the scenes genius wrapped in this exterior of a hard-nosed old school football guy.
You know, I agree with all of that. And the thing that I would say that characterizes him the most is that he is the perfect combination of old school and new school.
Yeah.
Because even their trademark word that they have pasted all over the wall there is grit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He believes in grit, but he also has compassion.
Yeah.
That's the part that was always missing from the old school coaching mentality. And I think that is that combination, that balance that he strikes between grit and compassion is what has, it's a little cliche, but I think it's true. I think his players would literally run through a wall for him.
Right. And imagine having a coach, because normally the run through the wall coach is not the guy that's also the most mentally preparing their team as well. So if you're going to run through a wall for the guy and have all of the knowledge for what the other guy might be trying to do to stop what you're doing, you can't fucking beat that. You can't beat that. It's like we've never seen a coach like this before. It's normally one or the other. And he, like you said, best of both worlds. I'm amazed that we got to see this. Wool over my eyes. I just saw the exterior of this guy and he just got us all duped. Whereas okay, I'll be this dumb lug, but behind the scenes, I'm breaking everything down. And you're giving all this praise to Ben Johnson. This season's going to tell us a lot because he's not going to have Ben Johnson. But was it Ben Johnson? Ben Johnson also was his assistant tight ends coach when he was offensive coordinator or whatever, or even back when he was a tight ends coach. So he brought him along with him. This guy could be a great developer of coaching talent.
Yeah,
it's like, man, we might be looking at a top coach, man.
Could be. I mean, that's
generational coach.
The questions surrounding what the Lions are going to be post Ben Johnson are very interesting. But this Sunday night game is full of its own narratives. The Vikings versus the Bears. You got Ben Johnson.
That's a Monday night game.
Monday night game. Ben Johnson, his head coaching debut. You've got year 2 of Caleb Williams. Are they going to be able to get this offense going? And then the Vikings are going to roll with this unproven J.J. McCarthy, who spent his whole rookie year on injured reserve. So, and the Vikings, for those of you who didn't remember, were a 14-win team last year with Sam Darnold. So it's like, and what's his name? The coach for Minnesota. O'Connell.
McConnell, yeah, another one, man.
He's starting to get the same kind of reputation as Kyle Shanahan in that, he's developed this system where he can win football games with Sam Darnold. He can win football games with who's the guy, the astrophysicist guy?
Yeah, Dobbs.
With the alopecia thing.
Dobbs.
Yeah. Josh Dobbs, he can win football games with whoever. So we'll see.
Yeah.
There's a lot to look forward to just in that game alone.
Yeah, man.
Let's see here. International.
Can I add one thing before we go to international? One fun thing I'm looking at on the CBS Sports site. That's the one I'm using to look at the schedule. They got ticket prices, man.
Okay.
Starting at the cheapest ticket. What team do you think? We can do it like this. Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button. This is fun, man. Looking at all the games, what tickets do you think? Bottom 3. I want you to do the bottom 3 tickets. Cost. Okay. Without looking at the CBS Sports.
I'm not. I'm looking at.
Just look at the schedule. Let me know what you think are the 3 cheapest.
Okay, let me do a little process of elimination. It's not the Bears.
Yeah, I'm on a budget now. Remember, I'm on a budget. I'm trying to get a cheap game, man.
It's definitely not the Texans at Rams. You're not getting a cheap ticket at SoFi.
Okay.
Packers, maybe? Just because of I don't know, Seahawks, Broncos. Falcons are all... Falcons are known for having kind of expensive tickets, but they have really cheap food once you get in the stadium. Browns have the cheapest ticket. They're in the bottom 3.
Okay.
Browns are in the bottom 3.
Okay, so we got Browns.
Saints are in the bottom 3.
Saints bottom 3. Okay.
Saints Cardinals. You ain't paying for. They should be giving those tickets away.
Saints Saints So you say Saints.
They should be on Bourbon Street handing out tickets to that game.
So you said Saints, Browns.
Well, not that one, obviously. Okay, Saints, Browns. I'm going to say Saints, Browns, Jaguars.
Okay. All right. I'm going to no, oh, you're close. You're close here and there. You're right with the Saints. They have the cheapest ticket.
Yeah.
Okay. The second cheapest is the Colts.
Ah, okay.
And then the third cheapest is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you had 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Well done, man. Well done. I'll tell you the prices, man, because this is insane. First of all, the most expensive. You were wrong about it because they were close. I was surprised. SoFi was one of the cheapest.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh shit. It's only $77. It was right outside of this one. It was the next cheapest after these 3. It's the 4th cheapest. Then is your Falcons with the $78. It's the cheapest seat. But then we come in with Jacksonville with $71 for the cheapest ticket.
Okay.
The Browns had $88, so it was more expensive than watching it. Then is the Colts with $67. and the Saints, the Saints ticket, $47.52. Which is good. I'm glad you can go watch the game.
That's still too expensive.
It's still too expensive, but
for
it's
Saints?
for nosebleeds at the Saints, I think it should be $20.
Nosebleeds to watch Saints Cardinals.
As much as these TV deals are and all of that stuff, I think watching your team live should never pay over $200. But the most expensive one, how? I don't know. The Chargers, do they have their own stadium now?
Well, that the Chargers game is the international game. It's in Brazil.
Okay, $531 cheapest.
Yeah, it's in Brazil.
Okay, $531. So you got to fly there and pay that much. And then Green Bay, surprisingly, $406 cheapest.
What?
$406. I'm shocked at that. That was the next highest. Is that in? Hold on. It's Lambeau Field too.
Wow. And
the Bears, $317. They probably have so many season ticket holders. That's probably what that is. That it's only, it's probably all scalpers now. They have loyal fan bases, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty fun that they had the ticket prices up here.
That's interesting.
Seattle's over $300, but these are all really loyal fan bases, so that might be why those are so much. New England too.
Speaking of ticket prices, we can talk about the international games.
Yeah.
These ain't gonna be cheap either.
Nah, hell no, man. Fuck Ticketmaster. I want to throw that out there again. It's so and I know that I'm. That they're collaborated with Live Nation and all that stuff, and I use them for my tour and all that stuff. But it just really sucks. The Ticketmasters allows the scalping. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. Fees are fees, whatever. But the scalping, like enabling scalpers, is so fucked up to fans.
Totally. And there will no doubt be some of that because we got some interesting games. I mean, the international outside of obviously the Brazil is week 1, but then it kicks off with a 4-week run here, starting in week 4. First game in Dublin, Ireland, Vikings versus Steelers. That's pretty
nice.
Fun. Yeah. And then another thing that's never happened before, the Vikings will stay in the United Kingdom. Week 5.
The Jaguars did that, right?
Well, they just played 2 games in London. Vikings are going to play week 4 in Dublin, and then week 5 they're going to come down to London and play the Cleveland Browns.
Nice. Who loses a home game for those?
The Steelers
and the Browns.
Steelers, the Browns.
Okay, yeah. Vikings don't even lose a home game, and they go. Wow.
Week 6, also in London, you got the Broncos playing the Jets. Jets will be the home team in that one. Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Week 7.
That game, the one quarterback that we're not really talking about, I don't expect the Jets to be super great this year, but I feel like Justin Fields, I think he could have an interesting season. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see. It's gonna be a very run heavy team. You would imagine.
They're gonna be
London week 7. Week 7 in London, we got Rams facing off against the Jaguars. Week 10 in Berlin for the first time ever in Berlin. The Colts will be the home team, and they will be playing my Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, boy. And then the week after,
week 11 in Madrid. First time in Madrid too, right?
Yeah.
First time in Madrid. Your Dolphins going up against J.D. Daniels and the Commanders.
Oh, my boy Sean, you know Sean, we were looking at tickets already to get down there and watch that. To go there, but then I looked at the weather, and it looks like Stockholm, like the typical weather around there. I guess no, Stockholm is really cold then, but it was not like going to Spain. I was like, why is it so cold?
You ever been to Berlin?
Not Berlin. I've been to Germany, all over Germany, but not Berlin for some reason.
Berlin's a great city.
I plan on going soon because there's a good comedy scene there.
I'm not even going to try to attend these games in person, to be honest. Like, I feel like we got lucky that COVID year.
Yeah, we did. With the scalping,
Getting tickets is an absolute nightmare. And also, like, to me, for us over here, this is like, as an American living in Europe, this is the closest we get to that feeling, recapturing that feeling of being able to watch a football game in the middle of the afternoon.
Bro.
That's,
every time I go home during the football season, go to a grocery store at like 10, 11 o'clock on a Sunday. It's the fucking best, man. Walking around, you see whatever city you're in, whatever their local team is, you see all of their stuff and, all of the stuff for the game, like for pre-gaming and parties and stuff. It's so good. And everybody's in a good mood. Like, you saying what's up. And if I'm like visiting my sister, then it's all Ravens fans over there or Commanders fans. And they're just like, oh, we got it today. We're going to do it. Talking about the game. Or if my team's playing their team, we talk our shit. It's such a good thing. It's one of my favorite things about America that I don't think is going to leave.
I can tell you exactly what I'm going to do on that Sunday, week 10, for that Colts-Falcons game. Is that I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to fire up the crock pot. I'm going to get a beef stew going at like fucking 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Yes. Put it in there. And then I'm going to watch this fucking football in the middle of the day, knowing that dinner is just simmering in the kitchen.
Yes.
It's just, I love it. I love this. I think.
Guess what I made last night?
What did you make last night?
I made a motherfucking beef casserole last night.
Oh, nice.
With I didn't have broccoli, so I put in some cauliflower, some mushrooms and stuff. I like to sneak vegetables in that my kids have to eat. They don't realize it in the casserole. And you can't find cream of mushroom soup here unless I go to the America store and spend all my money.
Right.
So I used the lobster soup.
Oh, wow.
As my little flavor base or whatever.
Interesting.
Highly recommend.
That sounds good as hell.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of good ass food, that brings us to the Thanksgiving slate.
Thanksgiving, baby! We're gonna hang out again this Thanksgiving. Our new tradition.
Oh yeah. Thanksgiving. Interesting slate. You got Packers at Lions. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that's juicy.
Always Packers though.
Second game. Well, it's always Lions.
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Second game is Chiefs at Cowboys. I mean, they're not fucking around with this Thanksgiving slate this year. Usually there's a game in there where it's like, well, you don't really have to watch this. It's just thrown in the background. You know what I mean? Not this year. And then the primetime game on Thanksgiving is Bengals at Ravens. It's like, I mean,
oh, shit.
Bro.
Oh, man. That's going to be dope.
I'm going to have to go home for Thanksgiving this year just so I can watch that game.
Yeah, man. But then again, the Bengals, they're going to lose games 1 through 3 as they do every year. So they'll be right in their prime where they're like getting people to believe again as they do, man. But they don't have Anarumo anymore. So
that's true. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And then, of course, Black Friday is the new tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Black Friday, Bears at Eagles, natural predator battle, perhaps. I don't know if we have a sound for that.
No, it's
You can call me Champ.
Yeah. And then Christmas. Okay, so last year was the first year they had the kind of deliberate, on purpose Netflix doubleheader. So this year they decided it went so well last year. You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna do a triple. We're gonna do the Thanksgiving thing on Christmas. We're gonna do a triple header. Fuck the NBA. We own Christmas now. We're gonna kick it off with Cowboys at Commanders. We're going to follow it up with Lions at Vikings, and then we're going to hit you with Broncos at Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like 3 division, like just in case you didn't know, NBA, anybody in the NBA was like, no, we still own, no, you do not own Christmas.
No.
The NFL just took it from you.
You smoke crack, don't you?
And on top of that, the other thing they tried last year, which they're going to come back with, is what I like to call the fuck your Saturday bitch slate. This is the NFL attempting to take Saturday away from college football the same way they took Christmas from the NBA. So this will be Saturday, December 20th, right before Christmas, smack dab in the middle of the college football quarterfinal playoff.
Jeez.
Right? And the NFL is going hard to the paint with Eagles versus Commanders and Bears versus Packers. They are like
divisions too. Cold-blooded, man.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck, man.
There's none of this like yeah. We could come at this with a scalpel and just pretend like we're just trying to take a little. No, fuck that. We're coming at this with a sledgehammer. We're smashing the whole thing. Rifling. Yeah. So that is.
Damn.
Yeah, that's kind of the overview. What are some? Do you have some games? Well, obviously, okay. I was thinking, like, do you have some games that you feel like you circled? Like, I can't wait to see this game. I know the number one.
What game? What are you talking about?
Number one has got to be Falcons versus Dolphins, baby.
Oh yeah, this year when we play.
For you and me.
Yes, of course.
You guys are coming to the.
That's the game of the So and we're playing that division. We're playing y'all's division, and then my brother's favorite team is the Bucks, so that's always
true.
fun. And my brother-in-law too. He's from Tampa, so we always talk our shit whenever that comes around. So that's fun. That's been it. And then like these first games, like their first games of the season, like to kick it off, man. Then I kind of like feel it out as it goes and see what's my favorite games. Of course, I always like the division rivalry games with the Dolphins. But yeah, that's the stuff I'm looking for because you never, the teams. That's why I don't like the strength of schedule stuff before the season because it's gonna change. You're gonna have some injuries. You're gonna have some teams not playing up to their level or outplaying, and all of a sudden, oh shit, the Jaguars are good. Shit like that. So. Like I'm thinking the Chargers are gonna be really, really fun to watch this year. So maybe they'll prove me right, and then a Chiefs Chargers game, which have been pretty competitive the last few years, but maybe they'll turn that corner. Yeah. So the coordinators that are coaches now will be fun to see. I'm curious about Dan Campbell losing his 2 coordinators, what that's gonna look like. I really think the Vikings are gonna shock a lot of people, so I'll be keeping an eye on them. So stuff like that is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this, I'm not stupid. I know what they're trying to do. You see these articles where it's like, oh, these are the top 10 games that you should circle. And it's like, it's always the same stuff. It's Ravens, Chiefs. It's Bills, Chiefs. It's Bengals, somebody else, whatever. Like Lions, Eagles, all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, you know what? Like, I'm more interested in, like you said, Ben Johnson as the head coach, not just Ben Johnson, but also like, we were sold on this idea that Caleb Williams was going to be a generational quarterback. Like, is that real or was that bullshit? Yeah. Can this, what's his name? The guy who comes up from Tampa, like, can he turn the Jaguars around? Can he rewrite? can he rewrite the narrative? What the fuck? Where's Travis Hunter going to play? Is he going to be more a receiver? Is he going to be more of a
that,
like? There's all that kind of stuff that I find way more fascinating. The Falcons, after the Kirk Cousins debacle from last year, one of the things that I've noticed during the offseason is that a lot of analysts are like, well, the Michael Penix pick was obviously a bad idea at the time, but at least they have him because now they've settled their quarterback room is taken care of. I'm like, is it?
Right. Exactly.
Is it? Yeah. Because we saw him for 4 games last season. Like, is it I'm still on pins and needles. Like I don't know. I have no idea.
And the big one is, what are the Steelers going to do if they don't get Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, 100%. Also,
is it Kirk Cousins?
The other one is Giants. Like what? That quarterback room with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Tommy DeVito. And then now you have the rookie Jackson Dart. I've heard some theories that the schedule release is basically the NFL saying, we are trying to force you to play Jackson Dart as soon as possible because their schedule is absolutely brutal in the beginning of the season. Yeah. Again, Bengals, can you win a game?
Yep.
In the first 5 weeks of the season? Like, can you do that? There's so many more interesting narratives to me besides the actual ones that got circled. 49ers. So the 49ers, this whole like, okay, they won 6 games last year. Vegas thinks they're going to win 10 or 11 this year. Yeah. Really? Are they?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Is Robert Saleh the guy to turn it back around? And that's 2 defensive coordinators that they've gotten rid of in the last 2 years. Yeah. Like, is that the thing? Yeah. Yes.
Christian McCaffrey's going to be fine. You said that last year.
Yeah. That's a team fine? I'm really curious about. Like, really curious.
Who else?
Kirk Cousins, where does he land? What happens with that?
Absolutely. I don't believe for a second that, the Falcons are like, oh, we're happy to have Kirk as backup. It's like, no. That's not.
Gino in Vegas.
Oh my God, Gino in Vegas. You know what? The Raiders, I've said this before. I think they're going to be one of the most fascinating teams to keep an eye on. Yeah. Because you got Gino.
Brock Bowers.
You got my man,
second year
Bulldog Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
The other thing, actually, you know what? I'm going to make a prediction right now.
Uh-oh.
The Washington Commanders are going to miss the playoffs.
Oh.
The Washington Commanders are the one team that I have circled as the most likely team to drop off from what they did last year. And I'll tell you exactly why. I have evidence for this. Over half of their games, they won by 1 score. A bunch of them, Jaden Daniels aside, a lot of luck involved.
Including the Hail Mary.
Right? Those are the teams that usually underperform the year after.
Yeah.
Remember what happened? The Vikings did it. They went from the team. The Vikings went from the team that lost all the 1-score games, and then they won all the 1-score games, and they went back to losing all the 1-score games. Like, this is not a sustainable way to win football games. And I think they are the most likely drop-off candidate.
And then sophomore year, remember Stroud was the next coming of Tom Brady / Pat Mahomes.
Mm-hmm. And also the way they won football games, the way they had to play to win football games, which was because they had terrible defense. Yeah. And Jaden Daniels had to play out of his fucking mind for the entire 4 quarters. Yeah. And they had to score 35 points to win football games. You cannot do that year after year. You can't do it. It's not sustainable.
Oh, I like this because a lot of people are going to be picking him to win the division.
I'm out on that. I think he'll do fine. You could still pick him up in fantasy and he'll get you lots of points and stuff, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I actually think they'll be the 3rd best team in that division. I think the Eagles will still win it. The Cowboys will come in 2nd and the Commanders will come in 3rd.
Like it. Woo. Yo, you mentioned fantasy. I want to remind our listeners that we do have 2 fantasy leagues. We want to get up to 3. And you can join it by joining us on Patreon, patreon.com/SveNFL. And Patreon subscribers get to be in our fantasy football league. It's really fun. and we're gonna do it again. Shout out to our commissioner, Champ.
The commish.
He's organizing it all again. So I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing my off-season mock drafts. You can go to like Yahoo Fantasy, whatever,
fantasy
and
draft,
you can practice your draft. I did that last year, and it worked out. It worked out pretty good as far as who I really wanted. But yeah,
I just picked Dolphins players and players that went to the U. I'm just kidding.
Isak never wins our family fantasy league primarily because he always picks someone who's either a former Bulldog or is currently a Falcon. And I'm like, maybe you should stop doing
Change
that.
your strategy. Yeah. It used to be where if players went to the then you were going to be good. But now kind of it's all
That's
about
the other
Bulldogs now.
I personally also, even if I didn't know you, like I'm so interested to see what's going to happen with you this year.
Yeah, me too.
Because you got the former Bulldog quarterback going down there to be under center. I'm so interested to see what's going to happen there.
I'm wondering if that's the new thing. You just buy a top quarterback and see what happens. And then next year we'll buy another one and, boosters, Miami money, baby. Shout out to cocaine.
There's a lot of shout out to cocaine. That's good. Yeah, there's a lot of change coming to the college football landscape. It's they're not done trying to tweak that system.
Keep up, because NFL don't give a fuck about your Saturdays anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You better figure that shit out because we just took your Saturday, bitch.
All right, man. Let's wrap this thing up, and thank y'all for checking it out, man. This was fun talking the schedule and other things. We talked a little bit about food as we do. We talked a little bit about a bunch of shit as we always do on this podcast, man. It's always fun. Glad to catch up with you. We'll be back. I'm going to be setting up some coaching stuff to talk about all the coaching throughout the league. So stay tuned for that. And we're still not charging those Patreon subscribers because the season's not back yet. So we'll be back to talk about some mini camp stuff and all of that shit soon enough. Thank y'all for checking us out, man. We're doing what we do. You heard the horns right now. That means you either heard something fantastic or you're about to hear something spectacular. And the former is true this time. Thank y'all for checking us out, man. It has been Jonathan Rollins.
Skip Mizara.
With SveNFL. Catch y'all very soon. Peace.
Later, y'all.